Okay, mama. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. Marie Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry coming to you from two socially distant studios at the edge of the Great Red Divide, now with new blue neighbors. You can catch all of our previous episodes at heartlandmamas.com on all podcast platforms and proudly carried on Demcast USA and YouTube. So, Murray, a lot has happened since we talked last Thursday. We have a new president. Not only do we have a new president, but we have a new president with a resounding victory. So let's talk about what happens
Can I
next.
just say something
Sure.
here? I feel like it's really important to point out. We all know that I'm a freaking dog nut, right?
Right.
Like I'd have 100 dogs. If I got to choose my own death, it would be to be smothered in puppies.
Ooh.
Let them claw my face out. I would be happy. Just put me in a box and cover me with puppies. Let them suffocate me. I cannot, and I rescue all my babies. I am so excited to have a dog in the White House and a dog lover
Yes.
in the White House. That just says so much about your character. I know we've got people out there who are like, and you see, I don't like dogs, doesn't mean not a good person. Well, you might be a good person, but it doesn't mean I have to like you if you don't like dogs. That's all
Right.
I'm saying. So we have someone with a brain, with compassion, with caring, and he won! Yay! The popular
Yay.
vote by a significant margin.
Right.
For I think we were at 33.5 million votes.
Yeah.
More got
Yep.
last total.
Mm-hmm.
But then he also won the electoral college,
By a
and
good
not just by a
margin,
little bit.
with no margin of error. You know.
And Heidi, you just nailed it right there. The margin of error. And that is what they are capitalizing on in order to try to keep knuckle nuts in power. So,
There's no pathway. There is zero pathway for Trump to get to 270. There's not enough votes left on the table, even with the Georgia recount, even if he had him recount all the close states. There is no path to victory for Donald Trump. He has lost the election. He's a one and done. We're glad to be rid of him, and it's time for the country to pack up and move on. But Trump's a lousy loser. He's a sore loser, and he is doing everything he can to circumvent our safe, normal transference of power and our election process. We've heard the most bizarre claims of election fraud I've ever heard in my entire life. And I
all
have
right,
gone to third world countries as an election observer.
I have to ask you, what is your favorite crazy election fraud story that you've heard so far?
Oh, the bags and bags of mail found in a river somewhere that turned out to be not true. I do like
Oh,
the voter fraud hotline where people are calling in prank calls. I think that's precious. Not
okay,
me. I've got a lot to
I
do.
think
So,
my favorite
yeah.
was Michigan, where they claimed that a white van pulled up with Biden Harris on it, pulled up,
Oh,
jumped out,
yeah.
slit open the old ballots, inserted the new ballots, and resealed them. That was probably one of my more favorite
Oh my!
stories
I
of
didn't.
the
I didn't hear
insanity.
that one, but
Didn't hear that one? Oh, that was
just
good.
like there was just a story today. I saw out there that there's still all these ballots coming in. Well, there's there's not enough ballots really out there still that could change the
Actually,
election. There's just not.
one, and you're right. There isn't enough to make a difference in the election. However,
Unless they find all those
it was
missing
just reported. It
the
was just reported today,
yeah.
and today they reported that there are um, like a lot of outstanding ballots in key swing counties
In
that
where? What
are
state?
in key swing counties
Uh-huh.
that were not processed because of the state's law. Uh, they were not counted, and they're not going to be counted.
What state was that?
A couple of them, actually.
Yeah. Well, I keep thinking about the we talked about this in pre-show about how many Democratic voters there are in Kentucky, and yet so few of them actually showed up to vote on election day. I think there's some shenanigans going on there, Marie. Come on. I mean,
The percentage of numbers was really crazy
yeah,
there. Like it turned out that there are more Democrats registered in Kentucky than Republicans,
right,
which can be people registering as the other party to knock out somebody in a primary, whatever. It happens in
right.
Illinois too.
Yep, all the
But the
time.
fact that like almost 92% of registered Republican voters
Showed up. Yeah.
voted and only 48% of Democrats did. You know what? If they can claim such outrageous shenanigans,
Yeah.
then we can. And I'd also like to discuss how can you change the vote for um, the president and not invalidate the entire ballot. I told you, we talked about this in
Yeah.
our before the election, that they would have grounds if it went the wrong way to challenge the Senate ones. But I don't think the Senate would be real happy to have all the ballots recounted,
No.
right?
Well, and here's the thing: the Republicans are not challenging their wins because they picked up House seats. They overthrew incumbent Democrats. They're not arguing the 50-50 split we have right now in the Senate. They're only arguing for Trump. And that's when it's another part of that weird thing where the Republican Party is no longer the Republican Party. They are Trumpians, right? So they've never like in all your life, did you ever see anybody flying a W flag except for, and I don't mean the one you put up after the Cubs win, but
Yeah, I didn't think that's the one you meant.
no, but I've never seen people like they're not flying Republican flags, they're flying Trump flags. They're not Republicans, they're Trumpians. That's why they're not too concerned about the Senate races and the House races. They're just only concerned about one race at the very top. And there is no evidence, no credible evidence at all that there was any election fraud whatsoever. Yet Trump is going to continue to cling to that belief because he's a sore loser. He's just not a good loser. He has cheated, lied, made mischief all the way to where he is right now because he can't ever be accountable. Typical narcissist can't ever be accountable for his own shortcomings. So I think, Murray, that we know that there's going to continue to be legal channels or legal challenges to the election, and that Trump is probably never going to concede. But I don't see any pathway, and I've listened to all the pundits. I've done all the math. There's no pathway for him to become president to gain a second term. I don't care what Mike Pompeo says.
I don't care what Mike Pompeo says either, to be completely honest with you. But it is concerning when he says in front of at the State Department for a press briefing, one of the reporters asked, well, how is this transition going to go? Will it impact national security, our relations with, and he replied, and I watched this right before we went on the show. He replied with, there will be absolutely no problem with the transition to a second Trump term.
Yeah. There will be no second Trump term. He's a wannabe despot. We saw our country explode with celebration Saturday. Saturday when I was teaching a horseback riding lesson and my phone started blowing up, and it was all the people that I know from all over the country and all over the world going, we won, we won, we won. And
Can you imagine what that call was like between Angela Merkel and Joe Biden? Do you think she was like, oh, thank God, I was so worried, Joe? Do you think she was happy that they don't have to
deal with Trump anymore? I picture her like jumping up and, marching in place and leaping in the air and saying, yes, 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 I don't have to deal with that jerk anymore. Woohoo!
Right?
So I think all over the world, leaders and people were like, thank God. It was just as if we overthrow a violent, nasty horrible dictator, and the rest of the world is like, yay, you finally got something right, woohoo! So I was pretty excited, but I had to quell
Wow.
that because the parents, we don't talk politics in the barn when I'm working, so the only thing I did is my daughter was teaching at the same time, and I ran over and gave her a big bear hug and said, whispered in her ear, we won, we won, we won. So then there was crying.
I gotta say, I want to mention something.
Mm-hmm.
The election happened. We didn't have a result. Then we were on the edge of our seat.
Yep.
Some point Saturday, they announced it. And of course, everyone in Trump camp and the GOP went radio silent. There wasn't
Right.
a sound to be heard. You could hear a
Nice?
pin drop, right?
Wasn't that nice?
And I kind of expected that. But then
Yeah.
again, I also expected to see more craziness from that group, right? More outrager as people took to the streets to celebrate, right? I expected to see the counters out, and then Sunday came, and we all know that Sunday is a big day for the pundits, talk shows, and the administration does the circuit and tries to push whatever their message is or defend whatever they've done, and
Right.
it was silent. Like no one was there. Now we can understand Mark Meadows has COVID. Maybe he was sick, but you didn't hear anything from the press secretary or Kellyanne or anywhere. And all the social media went quiet. You were not seeing even elected congressmen posting on Facebook or Twitter or anything. And for all of them to go quiet at the same time is really weird. Anytime that the administration, this group goes quiet, it sends me into panic. Absolute panic.
They all left and went to Parlor.
Parlor. Oh my God, Parlor. What the hell is
Whoever
that?
owns
right?
that is making money right now. So laughing all the way to the bank.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Your QAnon social media outlet for all your crazy conspiracy theories and more.
On one hand, it's a great place to get all the nutters together to be under the big brother's eye.
Right.
On the other hand, it is really concerning because it gives them an unchecked echo chamber. So it's the bubble. And I knew something was up. You weren't being heard for the first part of our podcast, so sorry about that. I had some technical difficulty, and thanks to our wonderful Chris Adcock, she was like, "Can't hear Heidi." So when I was like messing around,
was that the problem? Chris, you didn't hear me? Oh no!
I know. Maybe we should just start all over. As I was saying, I think that I totally lost my train of thought as I got into that. So I apologize to our listeners. Technical difficulties will seriously mess you up. As today's MSNBC reporter said, because he lost control. So he's their national security correspondent. He's talking about, what's going on with the transition. And Don Lemon goes to him and says, okay, we're going to, Delaney. I can't think of his first name is. And he all of a sudden you see him go, shh. And we're like, what's going on? And it went dead. He lost the connection between the control thing, and he had to apologize as well. So I'm apologizing for that goofiness that
happened. Well, and sometimes technical difficulties do happen, but, I'll be releasing this a little later today on our podcast platforms and on YouTube, and you can watch the first half. So, but, with all the shenanigans that we saw going on into the election, leading up to the election, weird stuff, armed guards and weird parades and blocked roads and blocked doors and people going in without masks and all the other shenanigans. I mean, I just figured they all knew that he was going to lose so that they had picked out Parlor beforehand. And I think that some of the Dems picked out Liker, and they were all going to go to Liker. They was like, we're leaving. We're out of here.
Yeah. Dan Boingo is one of the Boingini. I don't even know how to say his name. I'm horrible at pronouncing names. He's a right wing pundit, and he is a partner in Parlor. And I do you think they were trying to be funny? Because their tagline, I kid you not, is a safe place to be with friends. Didn't you rip on everything the Democrats, snowflakes needed safe places?
Yes.
And that's just it. Everything they accuse anyone else of doing, they are doing
Well, they
themselves.
project all the
And
time, Murray. Come on. You can't be a Republican if you're not projecting everything on somebody else and then you go and do it anyway. It's like now we're going to hear all about the national debt. Seriously, we're going to hear all about the national debt, and it's all going to be up to a Democrat to fix. Once again, the Republicans have run
right.
way up sky high, and the Democrats are going to have to step in and fix it, like we always do. But yeah, we'll turn around in a few years, a few election cycles, and elect a Republican to do it again. And then we're like, how did we
Yeah,
get
well,
here? I don't know.
yeah, and we have to talk about some other aspects here. We have to talk about, we touched a little on Pompeo with national security and the implications of um, the relationships with countries and the smooth transition, as
Yeah.
he made a bad joke today. We've talked about the leaders in the Senate. Mitch McConnell yesterday on the Senate floor said we won the Senate and we will not accept defeat in the White House. He is
He's stoking.
agreeing with the undermining of the
Yeah.
fundamental rule of law.
Oh,
And
so
here's the thing, we've talked about this
Murray, this is nothing new
a
for
million
McConnell.
times, Heidi.
Yeah.
Right. The rule of law is only as good as those are willing to follow it and those who can enforce it.
The rule of law was written as, let's say, a gentleman's agreement, because certainly no women were in the room, right? And they were
sure.
they were counting on the honesty and integrity of the people that were taking these offices. Now, and we know that there's been some pretty slippery, slimy senators and congressmen. I mean, Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue, who are up for re-election in Georgia, where we have this huge runoff coming up with Ossoff and Warnock. Both of them made huge amounts of money on people dying from COVID-19. Huge amounts of money. Outrageous.
Well, let's explain to our listeners in case they don't know.
Oh, well.
As they were informed that the COVID pandemic was not something that was going to pass, they sold off a ton of their stock before the market crashed. Yep. So insider trading. Didn't other people gone to jail for that? But I guess if you're a senator, it's okay.
If you have a TV show on home improvement like Martha Stewart, you're going to jail for that, right?
Right. Well, if you're a woman, you're going to jail.
But Kelly Loeffler, who's worth billions of dollars, is still sitting there. And the fact that McConnell thinks that those two slimeball senators can hold on to their seats in Georgia in the special runoff, and if you know anybody that lives in Georgia, you've got to reach out to them now. I listened to Andrew Yang this morning talk about the Yang Gang is going to Georgia and setting up camp to help both of those, which I think is fabulous. And they're looking for volunteers. So if you know anybody who wants to go to Georgia when it's cold out, Yang will host you. So down there, Murray, let's go. So the thing is getting back to this gentleman's agreement, we count on the people that take these positions to have the integrity to do the right thing, and the people that surround them to do the right thing as well. Trump has shown us that there are people who will take these offices and subvert everything, subvert democracy in order to make a buck. And we have a bounden duty by being the electorate body, the people that elect people to do these positions, to make sure that legislation is written to plug all these holes and make our democracy safe and sane again. We have
there are so many holes in what has happened. And I know, we talked a little bit about the pundits and the experts and former administration officials from other administrations. And, everyone is functioning on the assumption that these are normal times and that you are dealing with
Normal people.
social contract. You are
Yeah.
dealing with the honor code of the rule of law. You are dealing with, and if there's anything that we have learned over the last 15 years,
Yeah.
is that it only is beneficial when it applies to them.
Exactly.
And they will not stop. So while they can't suppose, oh well, you can't have recalls. The federal government isn't going to do it, right? The candidate has to initiate it.
Yeah.
States know candidates are notoriously broke. They make them pay up front. We
Right.
know Trump isn't going to pay up front.
Nope.
So what was really concerning was yesterday when Bill Barr
Oh God, Bill Barr.
came out and issued guidance that is contrary to 40 years of precedent, and that is that they will not investigate any voting issues until after an election is certified, between the period of election, the day of election, to when the elections are certified, because they don't want the federal government being involved. They don't want the federal government having control. Well, Bill Barr came out and said, hey, you can investigate if it's a credible threat. Go ahead and investigate it. So if the Department of Justice is investigating voter fraud in these states, doesn't that mean that then Donald Trump won't have to pay for it out of his campaign pocket?
Oh God, another way to waste taxpayer dollars. We have
Yeah.
funded his and his family's lifestyle long enough. I'm done. I'm done sending Ivanka someplace to try to look like Botox Barbie does the Holocaust Museum or travels to Israel or whatever stuff that they do in Saudi Arabia with the two sons, Beavis and Butthead. I'm tired of funding all that and funding all of their plane trips and their special envoys and their maid service and the fuel to do the planes and the Secret Service and everything else that they have to take with them.
Well,
All their crap. I'm done with it. And you should be too. No matter what side you are on as far as voting, and I'm sure if you're a red voter, you're not listening to this, But we need to be fed up as a
probably.
country. Yeah. We can't let up now just because we won this election, air quote, doesn't mean that we've won the day. We have to push through.
It's not. I have said this repeatedly, over and over and over again. My biggest concern was not the election. I believe that it is going to be very hard to bring this country together and rebuild that trust in our institutions. Because while 79 million of us understand that there wasn't cheating, and probably 30 million of them think the Republicans did something bad,
Yes.
almost all of the Republicans don't think there was cheating that invalidated, and they don't have valid information. They don't have logic that makes sense. Like, why would you vote for Trump and not vote for Republican senator? Or like, there's just these reasons. But again, we go back to, we are using reason and logic. We are operating under the pretense that that the honor system works, that the justice system works, that our democracy, that people wouldn't do something like that because it would just be so horrible for the nation, that the nation would come first. And that's a myth. That's bull. And I'm going to tell you, look at those fuckers. Oops, sorry, bad word. Look at those assholes in the Senate.
Yeah.
The assholes in the House. Look at Kevin McCarthy, Jim Jordan. They're all banging their chest and claiming there was fraud. This is fundamentally so. Why are they planning on never running again? Are they planning on never being in the other shoes? Are they just that short-sighted, or do they really just don't plan on leaving because we follow the rule of law? We follow the honor code, and they don't. And when has Trump ever been punished for not following that code?
Never.
Who is going to drag his ass out of there?
I say the Vindeman brothers.
I'd be honest with you, man. I'd
um,
love to see it.
you know, and I told you in pre-show, I don't know. I don't think he'll show up for the inauguration. I don't think. I mean, and I've been wrong so many times on this election, and I knew this transference of power was. I don't know if it won't be peaceful, but I don't see Trump didn't take an active role in the transference of power from Obama to him. I don't see him taking an active role in him to Biden. I don't see him
But I mean,
making
we can't even get the funds, the congressionally released
right,
funds that are supposed to go to the transition.
right,
And when we think about a transition, remember there are 4,000 jobs that need to be filled.
right.
4,000 jobs end on January 20th at 2 p.m.
Noon.
We need to have and I understand you make a great point that Trump never followed those
He
conventions, and
hasn't hired
perhaps he
most of
doesn't
those
understand how important they
a
are.
majority of those
But
4,000 positions, Murray, went left unfilled by the Trump administration. And some people will say, well,
yeah,
look how much money he saved. No, it's because he had his little despot crew in close. The fewer people you have watching, the more you can get away with. Because if everybody's operating on the same wavelength and they're all, let's circumvent democracy this way, and they're all seething and working together, and that's the family Trump, the family that prays together. They work together to subvert everything that they do, every business arrangement that they do. Screw the little guy, screw the big guy. If you're the biggest fish, you win. That is the Trump philosophy. Whether or not he's the biggest fish or not, we'll never know. He certainly had the opportunity to be the leader of the free world, the most powerful man in the world, and couldn't do it. Couldn't take
well,
it.
think
Couldn't
about it
take the
this way.
responsibility.
He has never been told no. We learned that through Mary Trump. We learned that through various we learned that from his sister taking his tests. He's never been held first. He has never had to do any work.
No.
Second, he has never been held accountable for his actions.
Nope.
Third, he is the epitome of entitlement.
Yes.
And he just I am concerned, really concerned that he will not leave and they will not be able to get him out. And that is, and I know it sounds crazy, right? Because logically, the law says this, the Constitution says this, but we need people who will enforce it. And we
Right.
need people who are not going to take the end runs. So instead of him having to pay $3 million up front to the state of Pennsylvania
Right.
for a recount, the Department of Justice can go in and investigate any potential fraud claims. So there are just so many. And the fact that the Republicans, not a one has, I mean, a few have gone, hey, congratulations. But most of them are 90 some percent have not and are not.
No.
Why? It's just very mind boggling to me.
It really is. And they enable him to be the way he is. Like you enable a drug addict by giving him $20 when he's down and out to go get high again. They're feeding him. They're feeding him and keeping the beast alive. And at some point, Republicans.
And the you're right. You had made a comment about him, being a king, and you were absolutely right. Everything he has wanted, every whim, his baser instincts have all been met and satisfied because when you're the leader of the free world, you really don't have time to go get yourself a Coke. You don't have time to drive to Target and get whatever.
Right.
So everything is taken care of for you. And he surrounded himself with yes people,
yeah.
And no one told him no. Yeah. So why would he think in a million years that he would actually have to go?
He didn't. He doesn't. The people he brought in to fill just a handful of those 4,000 positions were so incompetent because what happens is you hire your cabinet and then you have your undersecretaries and then you have your secretaries and your undersecretaries and they in turn hire people. It builds out. It's not that Biden will pick every one of those people, and it's not that Trump has picked every one of those people. It's that I'm about to lose my microphone here. It's that they're supposed to pick these people, but he picked such incompetent people that they could not choose people to fill these positions at all. There was just no ability for them to do it because they're not, they don't know how government works. They're all a bunch of, I don't know. They're privileged people that have never had
Mercenary
to do anything.
capitalists.
Yes, they're mercenary capitalists,
They're
Murray, but
mercenary capitalists running the government, and they don't understand how that works. They
well,
don't understand how a government's
right.
supposed
They got those jobs by donating to the Trump campaign. They didn't get those jobs by doing the right thing, and they don't know what they're doing, so they do nothing. So, anyway.
So we're entering a really dangerous period coming up. And not just and my thing is I want everyone to pay attention. Don't look at the dancing bear, right? The dancing
No.
bear is
There to
vote,
distract you.
the 1,000 vote ballots that ended up in the river that wasn't true. That is not the things that we have to worry about. We have to worry about things like the office, the SGA, not releasing the funds for a transition.
Right.
We have to worry about things like McConnell or like Graham saying, if we had a fair election, a Republican would never get elected. He freaking said that.
He said that. And
He said that.
how we get rid of Mitch McConnell is we make sure that we elect Ossoff and Warnock down in Georgia, and then he loses his president of the Senate position, and things get done because McConnell's been nothing but an obstructionist from day one. Under the Obama administration, he has never let up, and he is determined to make Biden also a one-term president. And remember how he failed with that under Obama, and we cannot let him succeed. People, we've let him win re-election. We've allowed Senate seats to not be turned over. We're stuck with Joni Ernst, and we're stuck with Susan Collins, and we're stuck with others.
We have a chance to take back the Senate. And here's the thing, guys. Even in the worst case scenario, even if Trump refuses to leave, he may still have the Department of Justice and Bill Barr, but he doesn't have the Senate. And the two houses together are stronger than he is. And that's the problem is we need the Senate in order to make that happen. Because we clearly can see that Senate Republicans are not going to do anything.
Nope.
To challenge or push back on this. And the long term, this is it. They never think long term. It's always the immediate. It drives me nuts. All right, that's a whole other topic for another show. So, folks, thanks for
coming up, and you won't believe what you're going to hear next.
We've got some great shows coming up. And we want to make sure that you tune in every Tuesday and Thursday at 2:00 on Facebook Live. We apologize for the technical issues. We will have that up and on YouTube soon, so we won't have to deal with that again. But, it is a scary time, guys, and I guess I just want you to have a takeaway here and know that what you think you know is not the reality that we are operating under. And so we have to learn and we have to adapt and we have to start focusing on the right things.
Yeah.
Like Bill Barr saying that investigators could invest possible causes or possible voter fraud. So the Trump administration doesn't have to pay for it.
We're just spending more of our money. That's all.
So we have to pay attention, guys, and pay close attention. The more resignations we get, but we will retain democracy. It is the most... it's the great experiment. And yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with it, but damn it, it's better than the alternative. And that would be a Trumptocracy.
Oh my God. We have 71 days. 71 more days. 71.
I won't breathe until 72 when Joe Biden wakes up in the White House in the Lincoln bedroom. I will not breathe easy until he does.
I'm just...
Comes down to breakfast with his pups.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't care. We can get through anything as a nation. We can even get through COVID. Yeah. We can get through anything, but what we cannot get through is living through another 4 years of this. Because if he doesn't leave, he will never leave.
No.
Ever.
We will have president appointed junior Eric and Ivanka if we don't get him out of there. And he's got to
And
go.
then Barron.
Oh, God. And let's make sure we get Mitch McConnell out of that chair. He doesn't deserve to be the
So
president
we
of the Senate.
call, right. Call any of the PACs that are supporting Warnock and Ossoff. Call their campaigns. Ask what you can do as an out-of-state voter. If you're an in-state person, oh, tell all your friends and family, donate $5, $10, $15. This is really, God forbid, we have to go that route, but we definitely need the Senate, or we're not going to get anything done.
Yeah, we definitely.
So thanks for tuning
Yeah.
in to today's show. Tune in on Thursday. And Heidi, would you like to take us out?
Well, I'd like to tell you to go to georgiasenate.com to find out how you can volunteer. But you can find, like, subscribe, share all of our previous episodes at Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com, all podcast platforms, YouTube, and Dumbcast USA. Anyway, take care, everybody. We'll see you Thursday at 2 o'clock. Take care. Bye-bye.